Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody to introduce themselves. So tell us about your degree, where you work, and what you do now. I'm going to pass the mic down.
Hi, my name is Lucy. I graduated from the University of Birmingham in July, and I studied economics. And I started working at PwC in assurance in the Birmingham office in September.
Hi, I'm Becky. I graduated from Birmingham University last July, so it's very strange to be like walking through campus on my way to this event. Slightly different experience for me. And I studied economics with German, and I started work in the consultancy department at PwC in November 2015.
Hi, my name's Charlotte. I actually did music at university in Leeds, so very different to what I'm doing at the moment. I'm on the RBS, I was on the RBS graduate scheme. I rolled up about 2 years ago, and now I'm a product manager for mortgages within the business.
Hi, my name's Tola. I graduated from the University of Birmingham in July 2014. Started at EY in the Canary Wharf office in September. Currently working in consulting and regulatory advisory, focusing on financial crime.
Hi, I'm Julia. I work in the FX sales team at Deutsche Bank on the Global Markets Graduate Program. I've been in the job for now 2 years. I graduated from the University of Dundee and I studied financial economics.
Okay, so the next question I'm going to ask is what made you choose your service area?
I guess I'll go first. I knew I wanted to go into finance, but I was unsure about which part of the sector to get into. I was mainly focusing on accounting and consultancy initially, but at the last minute I decided to go into banking. Initially I was extremely advised to not go into banking by my parents because of the reputation that it had, being male dominated and very cutthroat. And I actually had a friend doing the markets internship program at Deutsche Bank over the summer that I graduated, and he confirmed all the rumors false. So then I applied, and a few months later I found myself in my first full-time job at Deutsche Bank in London in another division, and a year later I started the graduate program. So.
Having studied law, I thought I would be more interested in pursuing a regulation type focused career. In terms of consulting, I just thought it'd be good because you get to travel a lot, it seems diverse, you're always working on different projects, so it's never really going to be a typical day in the office. And I also think that I'll get to learn quite a lot. And with the focus on financial services, it gives me exposure to understanding what the finance industry is all about and developing my knowledge in that regard.
I didn't actually know what I wanted to do doing music. It was a teacher or a performer really. So I went in the RBS grad scheme because it basically gave you the option to go throughout the business. I was in UK retail, so I did telephony, I did branch, and I did head office. So it was a 2-year scheme. We got to do a variety of different roles. Then when I rolled up, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I went into mortgages because that's the biggest growing sector of the bank for the UK retail side. And then product management was something I was really interested in doing. So I went for the personal mortgage advisor role, and then I've been in the design product department. So I've kind of just taken it as it comes, but ended up in the right place now, I believe.
I picked consulting because I thought it was a really dynamic environment to be involved in. As you said, there's no, each day in the office is different, and you get a lot of opportunities to be quite flexible with what kind of stuff you want to get involved in, develop a lot of these skills and learn a lot. And I didn't know specifically what part of business I was interested in, but I knew I was interested in business and how businesses change and grow. And I think in consulting you get great exposure to that, so that was why I wanted to go to that.
I picked assurance mainly because of the variety that it offers. I like the fact that every couple of weeks I'm in a new location, get into grips with a new organisation, working within lots of different teams. You get a good oversight doing that.
Okay, so have we got any questions from the audience? Yeah, just that.
As a first year, what would you like the most about what you can do at this point to give you the best chance of getting to level like that?
I think as a first year, it's really good to be aware that you need to be busy doing stuff that you can later talk about in applications, basically. But I think there's another side to that is also getting active in things like societies and getting onto committee roles so you can talk about those kind of roles, or coming to events like this, or applying to spring weeks. They're really good for your own personal development because, for example, you could go to a spring week and decide, no way do you want to do that job ever again. That's something productive for you to work out. But equally, it's also a really good experience to talk about later interview. And getting involved with societies and stuff at university is really useful because it's things that you can talk about in your interview. It also helps you develop skills like operating in teams because sometimes you can have difficult conversations that you have to have in committees. You can also have that in a work environment, and it's a really good opportunity to build those skills in perhaps a less sort of risky environment than in the work environment.
I think the most important thing to do is do what you enjoy. Like, my music degree is not finance related, but I did what I enjoyed, and that meant that I had the transferable skills to end up where I am today. So I think if you think about those skills you want to achieve, whatever you do, you will get there.
I was also going to say it's never too early to start working towards your career. If you know exactly what you want to do and you see an opportunity that's going to serve you well, go for it. Don't let the factor that you're in your first year ever stop you from going for it.
As cringe as it sounds, my advice is to persist and not give up. I mean, it's very different. I mean, in finance generally, the learning curve is so steep, and I could assure you that you would, if you come in, you will get to the point that you're like, is this really for me? I want to quit. I mean, I can assure you that actually around 50% of graduates come in for the first maybe 3 months and they're like, I'm going to quit. As long as you persist. And now I've been in the role for 8 months now. I finally feel that the learning curve is flattening out. But right in the beginning, it's tough, and it's tough for everyone, and actually, especially women in the industry, because there are not that many. So I would just say persist and just keep going.
Any more questions?
Starting at the respective companies that you work in, what would you say was the most challenging thing to overcome at the beginning?
I would say that there wasn't really anything that was that challenging. Personally, from EY's perspective, we had a month-long induction, and then we went to college as our professional qualification, so we got quite an easy start to our careers. And once we got to the office, everyone knew what we knew. They didn't really expect anything from us, but I guess it's just want you to show that you are worthy of being there. I guess that's the biggest challenge, but I wouldn't really say that's much of a challenge at all.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. So the caveat is that the start of PwC is really, really amazing. You have a month-long training and you have so much support and you have a really great network that you build up. So if you have a challenging day, you have a lot of people you can get in touch with who will support you and say, hey, my week last week was pretty tough, but here's a way to get through it. What I personally found challenging, and I don't think it's unique to PwC, is that there's just a lot of new kind of behaviours that you have to learn, new systems that you have to learn, new ways to think and behave, because it is, and also, I started my job literally 2 or 3 months ago, so this is quite relevant for me. It is really different being at university to being in the working world, and you just kind of have to learn how to deal with situations, and often a lot of that stuff is different to being a student, but you, in my experience, have a really good support network, and echo what other previous speakers have said today, that talking to people, if you're finding something challenging, every time I've done that, I've had a really supportive response. And I think regardless of what company you join, you shouldn't be afraid of putting your hand up and saying, actually, I'm kind of struggling here, or I feel like I'm lacking confidence in this area. I think people will always support you.
I would probably say starting out with professional qualification. Obviously, you're all used to studying and revising, but what I found most challenging was trying to do that after, coming home after a day at work, not having the whole day to focus on just doing that, and sometimes you find yourself being at work, knowing you've got to go back to it. So I'd say that was probably the learning curve, being able to be flexible with your study, catching the train to a client site so you can sit and spend an extra half an hour reading through the books, and things like that.
Any other questions?
Hi everyone. My question is around, so you get to your graduate job at your employer, and how do you make sure that your career progression doesn't plateau, and how do you now develop into that kind of person who's seeking promotion and things like that, and what your experience has been with that in your organisation?
I think you have to, if you really want to move your career forward, you have to acknowledge that that's something that you want and do your best to make it happen and be open with the people around you. So in all of the organisations that we've got here today, everyone's got their former sort of people manager or somebody who's there to help them manage their career. And if you say to them, I want to move ahead, I want to progress, they'll be able to advise you on what to do. But I think also it can come quite naturally if you're the kind of person who likes getting involved in things. There are loads of extra activities that you can get involved in, and we'll try and promote sort of the company version of a society within the organisation, and that's the kind of thing that makes people notice you and makes you stand out from the crowd. But it's also just making sure you deliver and do a really good job on your day job, on your project work, and that just means that you have to focus and do your best, and that will be recognised.
I think with that point as well, your personal development plan, which we spoke about earlier, is a real key opportunity to put down on paper what you want to be and where you want to be, and that's where your management comes in really well, so you can put those plans, get the skills, be on the projects you need to be, speak to people you need to do, and I think that's the real way you can get to where you want to be, and also you're always on track to get it, because it's something it's an active document, so you always have it with you, and you're always wanting to progress it even further.
The first thing I would say is if you know what you want, then just not be afraid to ask for it. I think in large organisations like EY, RBS, there are a lot of opportunities, but if you don't make use of them, then it's sort of a waste. So if you just make sure that you know what you want from your career, what you want it to look like, even if you're on a 2-year fixed grad scheme, make it clear to your sort of coach or manager what you hope to get out of a project. Also get involved in extracurricular activities like Rebecca said, and just also speak up. I think there's a lot. My intake person is about 140 people, and it's very easy to get lost in the crowd, but if you build your personal brand, so if you want to be known as someone who's really on it, then make sure that you focus on the basics, get the basics right, and everyone will know that you're that person who they can then trust with more responsibility.
I could speak for sales and trading, which is one of the most high turnover areas of the sector. So essentially, if you don't progress quickly, you're kind of out. So that's always the motto there. So my biggest advice is to not be quiet about your achievements. That was my first advice from my managing director, who's a female. She spoke about this book that's called Lean In. It's written by Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook and former CEO of Google. And essentially it talks about how men are a little bit more risk takers, they flaunt a little bit more about their achievements, and that's why partially why women have been set back in a business. So essentially just put yourself forward, because if you stay quiet, no one will ever know about your achievements, and you won't be noticed. So essentially just speak up.
Okay, so in order to make sure we finish on time, everybody give a big round of applause to our and we'll welcome Mary and Amanda back here.